Hello, dear friends and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. This is your host Ram welcoming you to yet another cricket show. And in this cricket show, I have a lot of things to cover. I'm going to start off from England versus West Indies, where West Indies completed a series win over England and they knocked off England on the third day itself by 10 wickets. So we'll have a brief look. So definitely it's going to be a summary because there are a lot of cricket to cover. We had South Africa today winning the T20 series against Pakistan with a wonderful victory. A close match once again, like what happened in the previous T20. India definitely weathering the conditions, definitely looking a bit under the carpet against the swing bowling, but then reviving itself with some very good knocks from Ambati Rayudu, all-rounder Vijay Shankar and Hardik Pandya turning it on by slamming 45 of just 22 deliveries to take India 250, and finally that was enough for the Indian bowlers to defend it, and India in fact ending up the ODI series with a 4-1 victory in the ODI series. And as far as the other match, we are talking about Australia, Sri Lanka, where the Sri Lankans have been set a target of 516 runs to win. Usman Khawaja hitting a century, Australia declining at 196 for 3, and Mitchell Starc bowling at absolutely breakneck speed as he was hitting the 150 kph mark at times. Not at times, on a very consistent level, we could say, and really turned it on with 5 wickets. So definitely we have a lot of cricket coming in. So first I'm going to start off with England versus West Indies. And the reason I start off from there is because England are the ones who are given a target, a very modest target at that. In fact, not a target. Basically, England were the ones who in the second innings were bowled out. It was 119 runs lead for the West Indies, and that was enough for West Indies to knock off England. But what was very, very glaring about this defeat from England, that on the third day itself, England had been humiliated. So looking at the card there, Rory Burns was out for 16. Joe Denley, the debutant, was bowled by a loosener from Joseph. Barristow was another good wicket, which fell to the bowling of Jason Holder for 14. Joe Root was dismissed for 7. Butler for 24. Stokes 11. Moeen Ali 4. So when folks 13, Curran not out 13. Broad and Anderson for ducks, and the West Indies bowled out the Englishmen for 132. And once again, it was Kemar Roach leading from the front with figures of 13 overs, 2 maidens, 52 runs and 4 wickets. And he has been someone who has been haunting the Englishmen throughout in this particular series. Gabriel was wicketless, but Jason Holder, as usual, chipping in with 4 for 43. Alzari Joseph, despite losing his mother, bowling very well, 7 overs, 4 maidens, 12 runs and 2 wickets. And very rightly, Jason Holder, the West Indian captain, dedicated this particular win to Alzari Joseph, and why not? And West Indies were given a target of 14 runs, knocked off in 2.1 overs with Campbell hitting a 6 of Anderson to really have some wild scenes at the stadium at North South in Antigua, where the match ended in 3 days and West Indies winning the match by 10 wickets. West Indies seem to be on an absolute roll, and everything seems to be coming well together. You take the batting is doing well, the bowling is doing well, the fielding is superb. And let me tell you one thing, England definitely did not learn after looking at this pitch, which was too paced. It was all a matter of great application, and that was, for me, lacking from the Englishmen, as Englishmen decided to take on the West Indies and try to hit themselves out of trouble. And finally, it was double trouble for the Englishmen, as Englishmen lost this match. West Indies have won the series 2-0 with 1 to go, but on the eve of the third test, one could say, that it's not good news for the West Indies. With the news coming in that the West Indian captain Jason Holder, who has been a prime contributor in this series, along with Kemar Roach, unfortunately had to sit out, has been suspended by the ICC for the final test match of St. Lucia. Very unfortunate, but this is due to the slow over rate. So the captains are always have to be mindful of that. So that is something which is going to hit them hard, and I would say it would hit them hard in quest of their clean sweep against the Englishmen, which they were definitely buying after having come so close with only one test remaining in the series. I'm sure West Indies would be eyeing a clean sweep, but now Brathwaite will be leading the series. So just want to share that. So now we leave from here. We leave from this match between West Indies and England, and we go on to the next one, and that would be the one between India and New Zealand. As far as India and New Zealand were concerned, once again, this match was played after India lost the match at Seddon Park in Hamilton. As you would remember, the fourth ODI. The fifth ODI was viewed with a lot of interest, and India definitely accepting a challenge there. Rohit Sharma once again winning the toss, and this time he decided once again to bat first, and the reason that he trotted out was that India wanted to test themselves against the swing bowling, and that's what I meant by a challenge. And India took up the challenge, and they were in immediate trouble right from the start, as the swing bowling once again started testing the Indians, as Rohit Sharma did not move his feet as he got a ball which nipped back from Henry for 2. Shikhar Dhawan uppercut for 6 of Bolt. Shubman Gill played a classic on drive, but that was it. The next delivery, he put up a tame catch to Santner and Ambath, and then Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who was there in the team, would have strengthened the Indian team, but Mahendra Singh Dhoni struggled for 6 balls for 1 run, as Trent Bolt got a ripper of a delivery, which actually Dhoni playing down the wrong line, and his stumps were shattered. And India were really staring down the barrel at 18 for 4. After that, the revival was done by Ambati Rayudu with 90, and Ambati Rayudu and Vijay Shankar. And let me tell you, Ambati Rayudu was a man who was taking calculated risks while playing, but Vijay Shankar, to a bit of a surprise that he came ahead of Jadhav and Pandya, but I thought it was a very good move on the part of the team, which decided to send Vijay Shankar to go, and Vijay Shankar definitely showed what a good batsman he is. Basically, what he showed was that he weathered the swing very well. He came in with the score on 18 for 4, and Dhoni was gone, and definitely there were butterflies in the stomach for the Indians. But Vijay Shankar really put up a solid stand with Ambati Rayudu of 98 runs to revive this Indian innings. And what Ambati Rayudu and Vijay Shankar did well was that they decided to take strike outside the crease to negate the swing of Bolt and Henry, which they did very well. And Shankar showed some solid defense, and he also kept the scoreboard ticking. At the other end, Ambati Rayudu was interspersing his defense with some very good strokes as well, and he was not afraid to play the big strokes also. As this was going on, a tragic run out took place with Ambati Rayudu ball watching, and it left Vijay Shankar missing his maiden 50. But what he had done to India was good, because Indians, as I said, this 98 runs partnership had taken India to 116 in the 32nd over, and Vijay Shankar was out for 45, but a very impressive knock from him with 4 boundaries of 64 deliveries. Ambati Rayudu carried on. He got support from Kedar Jadhav, who made 34 of 45 deliveries with 3 fours, but there was 2 wickets which fell in quick succession, that of Ambati Rayudu and Jadhav trying to force the pace. Ambati Rayudu missed his century, as this ODI series ended up with none of the batsmen in either team hitting a century. Ambati Rayudu was out for 90 of 113 deliveries, which included 8 fours and 4 sixes. But Hardik Pandya, left only with the tail for company, decided that he is going to really cane this New Zealand bowling, and Todd Ansell, the leggy, was really bowling very well at that stage, but he got his figures absolutely ruined when Hardik Pandya smacked him for 3 sixes, and Hardik Pandya also hit Trent Bolt for one beautiful six, and finally Hardik Pandya was the one who took India past the 250 mark, as India were all out for 252. Hardik Pandya's score being 45 of 22 deliveries, which included 2 fours and 5 wonderful sixes. And that's when Hardik Pandya can mean a big difference to the team, as he was the one who turned it on for India. Henry bowled superbly, 10 overs, 135 runs and 4 wickets, was rewarded for his wonderful line. Trent Bolt really partnering well. We had 9.5 overs to made of 39 runs and 3 wickets. 1 for 33 for Jimmy Neesham. Colin de Grandhomme was none for 33. Munro none for 47. Also did his job well. 3 overs, none for 18 for Santner Assel, who got his figures absolutely splayed away by Hardik Pandya, as Hardik Pandya took heavy toll of his bowling, and he was left with figures of 5 overs for 35. New Zealand, given this target, definitely one new with a score of 250 on the board. New Zealand had a really competitive score here to chase at the Westpac Stadium in Wellington, and it was very tough going. Munro decided to go on to the attack. It resulted in him perishing to Mohammad Shami, losing his stumps for 24 of 19 deliveries, 2 fours, 1 6. Henry Nichols was out for 8 to the bowling Mohammad Shami. After that, we saw Ross Taylor, the big wicket taken by Hardik Pandya when he got a ball to nip in. Williamson out for 39 of 73 deliveries with 3 fours, and there were only contributions from Williamson with 39, Latham 37, and Jimmy Neesham hitting it a bit, 44 of 32, 4 fours, 2 sixes, and that was a smart piece of work by Mahendra Singh Dhoni. In fact, they were appealing for an LBW, but Dhoni kept on appealing and started moving towards the stumps, and before Neesham could realize, he had underarmed it into the stumps, and Neesham was caught off ground, and Neesham had to go. Grandhomme, and after that there was not much. Grandhomme was out for 11, Santner 22. They still had some all-rounders like Santner and Grandhomme, but all that they could do was muster 217, as they were bowled out for 217, and India winning the ODI series 4-1 with this victory in the final ODI by 35 runs. And now the focus will be shifting on to the T20 series, which is coming up on 6th of February between India and New Zealand. The bowling, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, 7.1 overs, no mean 1 for 38. Mohammad Shami was the man of the series, 8 overs, 2 for 35. Hardik Pandya was fastly 8 overs, 1 minute 250. Vijay Shankar bowled well, 4 overs for 19. Chahal got 3 for 41 of his 10. Jadhav bowled 7 overs, 1 for 34. Ambati Raidu was the man of the match. So that is as far as this match is concerned. Now we have a look at the Australia versus Sri Lanka match, where Sri Lanka once again in the morning, they started off with an injury to Kushal Perera. Kushal Perera getting a ball from the pacer, young pacer Jai Richardson, which actually went on to hit Kushal Perera behind the just on the helmet behind the here, and that resulted in Kushal Perera being sent out for x-rays, and glad that he is also okay, and Kushal Perera was not there for Sri Lanka, unfortunately. He had to retire hurt. So this is the second thing that was happening for second time that has happened for Sri Lanka. And Karunaratne resumed his innings after retiring hurt the previous day. He made 59 with 7 boundaries, and there were contributions coming in. Dhananjay De Silva and Dickwala making 25. Dhananjay De Silva being hit wicket to Mitchell Starc, and Mitchell Starc, let me tell you, was simply into his element. He was bowling at 150 clicks on a very consistent level at times, and that with his 5-wicket haul, the Sri Lankan innings ground to a halt at 215. So it's a massive lead, but the Australians did not enforce the follow on and decided that they will play on, and that's what they precisely did. They decided to play on, but again the tail was still the same tail that happened in the first innings. They were reduced to 39 for 3 pretty quickly. So once again, it was a matter of survival for the Aussies, as Kasan Rajita picked up 2 wickets with some brilliant catches being taken by Mendes in the slips, Marcus Harris, Labuschagne, and also Roddy Burns, the Centurion, was out in quick succession. And then it was only thanks to Usman Khawaja getting a century, the 4th century for Australia in this particular test match. And the Aussies declared the innings close at 196 for 3. Usman Khawaja getting his century, so that was good to see. And the Aussies set the Lankans a target of 500. They declared the innings closed at 196 for 3, thus setting the Aussies a total, setting the Sri Lankans a target of 516 runs for victory. Usman Khawaja was not at 101. That was the time the declaration came with 14 boundaries. So it was a nice little innings from Usman Khawaja, especially considering that Australia scored 196. 101 was a major contribution there, Usman Khawaja. Travis had continued his good work, not out 59 with 8 boundaries, 196 for 3. And the Sri Lankans were made to face 6 overs before close of play, and both the openers were on 8 apiece as Sri Lanka closed the day at 17 for no loss. They have a mammoth task in front of them. They have 2 full days to go, so that is something that they can still try to apply themselves, but definitely a very tough ask. 499 runs for Sri Lanka to win the match on the 4th day here at the Manuka Oval in Canberra. So that's the match situation. Now let's get on from here and let's talk about the South Africa versus Pakistan. Today was the second T20 which was played, and South Africa again winning a very close game with Pakistan. With Pakistan really looking in control till such time Babar Azam was going strong with 90 runs, but with this dismissal there was a collapse from the Pakistanis as Pakistan were bowled. They finished 7 runs short with Andu Felukwayo bowling the 14th over and defending 14 runs of the final over. Talking about the South Africa-Pakistan game, as I said, South Africa won the T20 series with just 1 more to go. And looking at the South African card, the South Africans were in smashing form, I would say, right from the beginning. Reza Hendricks run out for 28 of 27, 3-4s. The debutant Mallon was very impressive, hoiking 2 consecutive sixes of the bowling. Usman Shinwari, let me tell you, was blasted out of sight by David Miller towards the end of the innings when 29 runs were leaked by Usman Shinwari to David Miller, and David Miller finished on an unbeaten 65, 29 balls, taking 29 runs of the final over from Usman Shinwari. Usman Shinwari got his figures absolutely ruined, and he now holds the record for the most number of runs given by a T20 Pakistan bowler in T20 cricket, which is 4 overs, none for 63. And South Africa went and sat on a total of 188 for 3. Contributions coming in from Mallon, as I said, very impressive on his debut. 33 of 31 deliveries, 3 4s and 2 6s. Vander Dussen showed his beginning ability as well. 4 6s and 1 4 and a knock of 45, 27 deliveries. David Miller was not on 65. It was an absolute blast by David Miller. And as I said, Usman Shinwari had to I would say, endured the record now of 63 runs of 4 overs. And look at the man, Imad Wasim. Amidst all this bloke, Imad Wasim, was simply superb. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 9 runs and 1 wicket. The left-arm spinning all-rounder, Imad Wasim. Shaheen Shah Afridi also bowled with a semblance of respectability. 4 overs, 1 for 27. Hassan Ali went for 48 of his 4. Shadab Khan, 3 overs, none for 25. Fakhar Zaman bowled 1 over for 12 runs. Now, Pakistan were given a target of 189 runs to win from their 20 overs, and they lost Fakhar Zaman early, but they were totally. I thought Babar Azam, who is the best player for Pakistan now in the whole team, was the one who took full charge. He came in as an opener, and he got a good company in Hussain Talat, who combined well with him, with Babar Azam. As you know, he's a very, very wonderful stroke maker, and Babar Azam Hussain Talat went on to put 102 runs for the second wicket by taking the score very close to the South African total, with a score on 147. Babar Azam's contribution being 90 of 58 deliveries, which included 13 fours and 1 6. But with Babar Azam being dismissed, as there was a sense of urgency, Hussain Talat played a good hand as well, bowled by Morris for 55, 41, 7 fours, and that was the time the collapse started for Pakistan. Asif Ali was dismissed for 2, Shoaib Malik for 6, and this was all due to some tight bowling from Sipamla, the debutant, who at a time when Babar Azam and Hussain Talat were really doing very well, that was the time Sipamla, this who actually is a product of the T20 Mazansi Super League, which was played in South Africa, he was the one who came in, and at a time when runs were really coming in thick and fast, it was Sipamla really showing his talent by not allowing the Pakistani batsmen to free their arms, and Feluquayo was the one who was picking up the wickets. Asif Ali out for 2, Malik for 6, and Imad Wazim was out for 6. The clean ball by Morris. Hassan Ali went for 1, and then finally it was left to Andy Feluquayo to bowl an over where 14 runs were required, and Feluquayo gave only 7 runs. Game over, and Pakistan were kept to 181 for 7, and that was the end of it. 2 wickets to Hendricks, 2 wickets to Morris, 3 for 36 for Feluquayo, and David Miller for sure was named man of the match. Well, dear fans and subscribers, it's about time for me to sign off on this cricket show this on a Sunday, and promising to bring more of it tomorrow if time permits. Till such time,